So Sudeep, 5 years with Samsonite and then later with VIP. So what is that gap that you saw and decided to have your own company?
There is a fantastic white space for sustainable luggage, which could be created. COVID was a time when the world had stopped traveling. The world was sleeping and we were starting a luggage company.
You had chosen Rohit Sharma for Aristocrat and now Bumrah for Uppercase.
I love cricket and I think cricket really cuts across all geographies. I mean, Bumrah in Chennai, Bumrah in Bombay and Bumrah in Kashmir. But a movie star sometimes are regional. Now for sustainability, for a large company, you really needed to redo the whole supply chain, which is very, very difficult. It will cost millions of dollars. It's easier to create something right from beginning. And therefore, I thought of starting on my own. I started a company when I was 49 years old, but it's been a good journey so far.
Cool. First of all, thank you so much, Sudeep, for taking out time for us.
My pleasure.
I know there's a lot of things happening in Uppercase, right? And at this juncture, giving us time, thank you so much.
No, it's pleasure. It's always pleasure. Yeah.
So Sudeep, I know that you've been in the industry for 13 odd years, right? For
19.
luggage.
19.
Before Uppercase.
Yeah.
Right? 5 years with Samsonite and then later with VIP.
Yes.
So what is that gap that you saw and decided to have your own company, which wouldn't have happened maybe in a VIP kind company?
Luggage industry, we use a lot of plastics, right? And COVID was a time when a lot of us had a lot of new ideas, whether the way you do business, how you approach the overall industry. And I felt that there is a fantastic white space for sustainable luggage, which could be created. And I felt that it was an opportunity that one could explore, and therefore I thought of starting on my own. What happens for established company, and it is not just for luggage, for any category, is the supply chain is tuned or geared up to do certain things. Now for sustainability, for a large company, you really needed to redo the whole supply chain, which is very, very difficult. It will cost millions of dollars, and larger companies have other pressures in terms of top line growth, bottom line growth. So that becomes very difficult. It is not just about luggage category, but any established category. It's easier to create something right from beginning. So therefore I felt it's an opportunity that one could explore, and I started thinking about starting on our own. Remember, this was COVID time. The world had stopped traveling, and I took this bold step. I don't know how. If you ask me today, would you do it again? Maybe I would not. But I took that step, and we started talking to the funds when the second wave was hitting. The world was sleeping and we were starting a luggage company. So then when money happened, when somebody believed, I said, this must be the call of the universe that we should start this organization. So we started.
Interesting. So when I see your career graph, you've been always into marketing, right?
Sales and marketing.
Yeah. Till the time you became MD at VIP,
Yes.
CEO MD at VIP. So I can call you the marketing guru. You were the one who, or rather brand guru, right? Wherein you got American Tourister to India when you were with Samsonite. And then eventually, even with VIP, you categorized all the brands to different price points so that there is no competition within, right?
Yeah.
So what is that mantra that you would give to youngsters today? Somebody who is maybe sitting at marketing in an organization, or somebody who's starting a new startup. So some mantra for them.
So there's no one mantra. this mantra word is very. There's no one mantra, but I think what I do when I approach a brand or when I approach a product, I try to see it from the consumer's point of view. What would a consumer feel and what would appeal to a consumer, and then the entire strategy falls in place. So when you are working with a youth brand, you need to understand how does the youth think. While you are working with a mature brand, you have to think how your mature consumers think. So if you are a marketeer, always think yourself as a consumer, wear the consumer hat, see through the consumer lens, and that will help you to get all the strategies in place. Everything else will fall in place. Don't approach it from a manufacturer or a producer viewpoint, then you will miss out on how to market or sell a product. So that's,
So
I
how
think,
do you collect that information? It's sometimes what happens is our perspective is what we think the whole consumer bracket requires, right? So how do you collect that information that gives you a complete, or is there a survey that you do to understand?
No, I think a great marketeer, I think 70% is observation. You need to observe, you need to listen to people. You don't have to do a quali or a quant. You need those, but you also have to read between lines. You also have to observe how consumers behave, not just for the category that you're selling, but also for the categories consumers use. Even today, when I go out in the market for our own consumption, for instance, with my kids, my wife, I usually observe how, for instance, my wife buys a handbag or my wife buys a clothing. That's something that that comes naturally to me, and I'd urge that you keep learning about marketing when you are out not doing marketing. That's the mantra.
No, because I read one of your, or rather heard one of your podcasts where you mentioned that Uppercase ROAS, that's written on advertising spend, is 1:3.8, which as per Google standards, Google Ads is 1:2, right? So you are, as it is, having some secret sauce there, which
I think it's very low. I think it should be 5 plus. End of the day, good brand, like an established brand, actually should have a ROAS of 15-20. I don't know what Google says, but I don't think 3.8 is great. For a new brand, maybe it is. We are doing okay. But I think there are brands better than us. There are brands worse than us. I don't think 3.8 is great, but yeah, we will take what comes.
So your ambition is
10 minimum.
Interesting.
Because end of the day, that's what great brands do. You don't have to, a brand becomes a brand when it can sell without advertising.
Correct. True.
And that takes time.
Yes.
Of course, it takes time, but it is something that will happen if you are working towards it also.
So considering that you started off as an online brand, so have you have access to 90,000 pin codes, right, with this? So have you done some customer analysis while projecting this?
We don't service all 90,000 because our products are little, we are very high on design. And I think, for instance, we don't make black bags. The world buys black bags. So we are targeting what I call the discerning consumers. But India is a very large country. Even 2% or 3% of the customer base is also very large, especially for a startup like us. So we are okay with it. And I think the way to do it is, since we are a sustainable brand, we try to talk to consumers through our media whose affinity towards sustainability is high.
Correct.
So when you choose the media vehicle, when you choose which kind of people that you want to talk to, you would talk to people who, for instance, watch Discovery Channel, or people who probably have seen some videos on sustainability, because that's where the appeal for your brand would work better, and therefore the return on advertising spends will be better than talking to somebody who to whom sustainability is way lower in the overall scheme of things. So those are the small things that we have to do in order to ensure that the money that we spend gives us the return that we want.
Interesting. So, as a child, you were very passionate about cricket. When you choose a cricketer for your brand, right? You had chosen Rohit Sharma for Aristocrat, and now Bumrah for Uppercase. So, is that a passion towards cricket, or is it a proper analysis of, because cricket is such a widely...
So, I love cricket, and I think a lot of lessons you can learn from this game. It just, everything that happens on the field, I can actually take an analogy that happens in a boardroom. Every incident that you see, you can actually relate it to something which can happen in the corporate world. So there's obviously a love for the game, and I love the game very much. But the fact that cricketers cut across, I mean, I've used movie stars for various brands that I've worked with. I think in India, celebrities do wonders in terms of getting the brand recognized.
Correct.
But cricket really cuts across all geographies. I mean, Bumrah in Chennai, Bumrah in Guwahati, Bumrah in Bombay, and Bumrah in Kashmir. But a movie star sometimes are regional.
Correct.
So cricketers do cut across, and therefore I always feel. But there's also a risk of taking a sports person. One, obviously, there's always this fear of injury for a sports person. We have gone through it. But you live with that, because I think the positives outweigh the negatives far better. So, I mean, cricket I love, and it works with us.
And now that he's invested with you all, I heard the CNBC news where he mentioned that he's very keen on having bags, luggages for sports personalities. So, can we expect a Jordan for...
Yeah,
Jordan?
of course. We are working on it. In fact, in the CNBC interview, I actually mentioned we are working on it. There will be a Bumrah line.
Oh, very nice.
Absolutely. And it's once when you take a brand ambassador, it's more of a transactional where there is a financial transaction which happens, and you expect the actor or the sports person to deliver a particular message that a brand wants to give in a particular way.
Correct.
But when that same person comes and says, hey, I want to invest in your company, I think then it really tells you that you must be doing something right, because it's not always that happens.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. I agree.
So we are very proud, and when I met him, when we were discussing, he did mention that, especially the gym bag and the duffel bag and the backpack that he carries, he says, I wish you could make a bag the way I want to. I said, of course we'll make a bag that we want to, and we'll also sell it. So you will see a Jasprit Bumrah range coming as early as October.
Oh, very soon.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And at VIP, you had almost around 7,000 stores, right? So, 7,000.
VIP, I don't know to talk about it, a very large distribution. Yes.
So, that means you must have already cracked the offline model, right? So, when you came to a COVID situation where you had to go in as an online brand, what are the challenges that you faced initially there?
It's a very, very good question. I think something that I nobody has asked me before. I had to relearn everything. Even today, prior to COVID, the media buying or media planning, and post COVID, the media planning is very, very different. The approach, the product, how to package the product, everything had was very new. So we had to learn from scratch, but that was fun because we always knew that COVID will go, and from day one, I had told my investors that we will not be a fully D2C brand. We are starting off now because that's what, and today also 50% of my business comes from online.
Okay.
But we are very, very strong in offline now, and we continue our focus. And now we've got two separate teams, different products. So we are well controlling both online and offline. What actually happened was I learned online because I had to. Offline, I knew.
Correct.
So I guess now I have a good mix of both.
Both. Interesting. You also mentioned that how Uppercase is different from VIP is you want to have a leaner team, right? Which would reduce your cost. And a person with your experience, you're not a young, 20-something entrepreneur who picks up people, right? You are somebody comes with 20 years of industry experience. So when you pick up your team now, are they a mix of experience and youngster? How is your team currently?
Yeah, so I'm not that old, but I'm not that young. I agree. Of course, it has to be both experience and youth. Especially if you really see, my production is all experience. My marketing is all youth. And that's how it should be. It has to be a balance. And not everybody is from the industry. We also have people from outside industry. And not everybody is from my previous companies. The mix of one advantage that I have is because I've been in this industry for this long, I have friends and ex-colleagues across industry, and most of them wants to work with me. So once we want, I mean, we don't have a placement agency, for instance. When we do use one for some of the positions, but generally we pick up the phone and call the person that we want to work
very
with,
nice.
and we get through to them. So it's been a good journey. So yeah, I mean, it's a mix of both youngsters as well as experience.
How is your design team? Because I think now the focus for luggage especially has, previously it was durability. Like our dads would think of a luggage as a lifelong, something that they would carry. But today's generation wants to change it like fashion, right? So how is your design team currently placed? Like, are they coming from good schools, or do you have international designers who are part of your team?
So I must tell you, I don't know if you're aware of it, we are the first Indian luggage company to win the Red Dot Award.
Oh yeah.
The Red Dot is the Oscars of design world. 2024, our luggage, there's a range called Bullet, which we won. Just to give you an understanding, last year along with us, we had Ducati, Ferrari Spider was winner of Red Dot. So the very big names were there. I believe in design. I think design, one of the pillars, so there are 3 pillars in our organization. The first pillar is design. We have designers from the third person who joined the organization was the chief design officer. Her name is Nidhi. She's a co-founder of this organization, and very, very important part of the team. And she created the whole, including this office has been created.
Yeah, very pretty office.
So I think design can make a brand look very different. And we have designers from NIT, NIFT, NID, all the top institutes. We have our own, we design, develop, produce everything in India. We are 100% Indian company, and I'm very proud to say about it. We do not pick up anything from China. And that's something that's the second pillar. So the first pillar is design, second pillar is 100% India. And the third pillar that we have is that of sustainability. So these are the three pillars on which this company is been built, and as long as I'm in charge, those three pillars will stay.
Interesting. So my next question is on the part which you mentioned, right, about having manufacturing unit in India. So most of your competitors have their manufacturing units in China or Bangladesh. So how do you manage the gross margin then? And considering even I believe sustainable materials would be also expensive, right, than your normal. So how do you manage your gross margin then?
So first and foremost thing, it's a hard work. Last 20 years in this industry, I know every factory in China. Most importantly, those people also know me. I mean, because I have friends over the years, bought a lot of luggage from them. But once we started, I think this was where I think my wife played a very important role, both ensuring that I created sustainable products. It's a passion for her. And she said that you have to make everything in India. So we worked hard. We created, in fact, our first backpack factory. We still have photographs. It used to be a rice grain godown.
Oh.
We converted a godown to a factory in 4 months flat.
Wow.
Because we knew how it could be done. So we created everything as far as the products are concerned. Gross margin, there are two aspects of gross margin. One, the cost. The other one is the price.
Correct.
So if you can build a brand which can command a price, then a little bit more expensive COGS is not a problem. So the idea is to create a brand where consumers say, hey, it's a good brand, I don't mind paying 200 rupees more, but this will do good to the society and to the country in general. So I think and our gross margins are very, very healthy. So I don't think that's an issue.
Because I think most of the companies have now started building a vertical which is into sustainable luggages.
In fact, no. So most of the big guys also, they don't have sustainable luggage. It's very difficult, as I said. So all our products, everything that we do, hard luggage, soft. In fact, one of the things that I keep saying, one of the cheaper categories that this industry has is the trolley propelling, which we call PP luggage. Till now, we did not launch it because we did not crack the sustainability code there. We're now launching because we cracked it. So we are very strict about it. For a startup, the first thing that you do is go and produce a product which is at a lower price because that sells. But we stayed away from it. So we are very, very, very conscious about what we do. And we, as I said, the three pillars, which is design, made in India, and sustainability. These are the three things that we will not move from till, as I said, I'm controlling this company.
So you must be having a lot of edge with regards to B2B, right? Considering the ESG element, right? A lot of, like in Saudi, I know for a fact that suppliers who have sustainable supply chain would be preferred over others.
See, yes and no. 15% of our sale comes from institutions. So yes, you are right. But it's not as mature as it is. It's nice to talk about. It's a lot of people talk, but at the end of the day, the purchase manager still says, "Sir, itna महंगा तो नहीं खरीद सकते." We try to work these things with them, and it's a process. Plus, as I said, and I've said it earlier also, I'm not here to make India's #1 luggage. I want to create an international brand, and sustainability is going to play a big role when I start going out of the country. So yes, it's an investment not for today, but investment for the future. Another 3 to 5 to 10 years, I think we should be in a good position to, reap the hard work and the effort and the time and the investment that you're doing on sustainability.
Correct. Interesting. So tell me, how has your usual day been, like from a corporate world to here in Uppercase, right? I see the office is very has a startup look to it, very trendy. But on the basis of culture, technology, how is it different from your previous corporate experience?
So I still run a very large ship, listed company,
Correct.
8,000 employees across 2-3 continents, 2-3 countries actually. Um, it's a very small. So now I'm running a small raft. So it keeps on wobbling. Ships are steady, you know. Bad weather, many a times a big ship can. So we have to be very careful. कभी भी उलट सकता है. So we have to manage, especially the cash flow. Cash flow is something that we have to keep a very tight, vigil on. Apart from that, I think for a startup, everybody is everybody. A general manager is somebody who does everything. But what we try to do in our organization is we are all doing a skip level job, including me.
Okay.
Just to give you an example, in my previous organization, I used to run the operations. Today, operation is run by my co-founder to a large extent. Obviously, I'm very involved, but my learning has been to manage the investors, manage the funds, and so if I have to divide my time, I think 50% of my time goes managing the funds and the investors, 50% is operation. While in VIP it was all operations. So that's the second change. The third, obviously, I think startup is a lot of fun. You are creating something from scratch, and that has its own excitement, if I may use the word. And it's fun. I mean, I'm glad I did it. I started a company when I was 49 years old, but it's been a good journey so far.
Interesting. So, from a technology and process-wise, is it the same as corporate?
No, absolutely not. As I said, large ship needs a lot of machines, right?
Correct. So you cut the bureaucracy.
Here we are putting up those machines. We are putting up those processes. We are, like for instance, we are now implementing SAP. In a large organization, SAP is given. Today we have got 3 different systems talking to each other in silo. We have to use Excel to get data transferred from here and there. Those are the things which we are finding. We are working with. But I think every startup, every organization goes that journey. Nobody was born with SAP. So processes and systems are getting in place. But what is important is even if you do not have those, you should have the tenacity or the foresightness of understanding how important they are. We run a very clean ship. My last funding from the term sheet to the fund in bank was 3 months flat. The due diligence was been done by Sam and PwC, and they actually said that they've never met a startup which has got so much of data, so clean data. So we maintain, and primarily because I think experience gives us that. We exactly know what we need to do. Our tax returns are in place. Our GSTs are filed well. So you need to do those and then as and when the time comes, you need to get those processes and those, systems in place, so that you can march towards it. And one thing that is very important is you don't put processes and systems for the business today. You have to see a year and a half, 2 years forward, and say to reach there, what are the processes that we need? And that's what we're doing now, because we know exactly, I should not say exactly, but roughly 80-90% usually we don't go wrong, where we will be in 2 years' time. And to be there, not only the processes in terms of the systems, but also people, in terms of production, in terms of what factories you need. And put those so that when the time comes, we're ready for it.
Correct, makes sense. But do you think, because I know you have to manage your investors, but if you were listed, right, managing the market is difficult, or
Both has its own different things. So ultimately, uh, for a startup, the ultimate dream is to get into IPO, which even we have the same thing. Um, Both are very different from each other, and I think you can't really compare, but it has its own
pluses
and minuses.
Yeah, makes sense. So tell me, are your kids interested in Uppercase? Do they? How old are they first?
I have twin sons.
Acha.
Both are giving class 12 now.
Oh, very young.
So there's a long way to go. Once in a while, when they have in mood, they ask me a few questions.
Acha.
But I mean, as I said, we run this organization very professionally. Families are not involved. Apart from obviously the fact that my wife manages me and she gives me a lot of. In fact, I must say that entire sustainability and the fact that we, like I said, made in India was something that she pushed and she got it done. So yeah, she has control of this company, but that's how it is. But otherwise, we run this organization very, very professionally, and that's how we also. I mean, someday I would like to give this organization to a professional to run, because I think that's how great value is created. Great organizations are created. Sometimes, would my sons, run this organization if they're capable, and if they become worthy of running an organization which by that time hopefully will be big enough, they will fight and get their chance. But trust me, it will not happen because they are my sons.
Correct. No, because I asked this question, Sudhir Jatia from Safari. He was saying that his current thing is who will his succession plan, right? Who will take over after him? And considering that you mentioned post 60 you want to enter into the acting field and give it away to somebody who is capable of, and that's why my question, that have you thought about those things?
I think it's too early for me to think about succession plans, but I think I mean, there's also a Deepak Parekh who runs in one of the biggest banks, or run biggest bank, and there's been succession plans there. We have Tata Group where I mean, you leave behind great organizations and legacies because you do things right. Of course, I would love to see one of them or both of them, but again, they have to prove themselves and come here.
Interesting. Any advice that you would like to give young entrepreneurs or some professionals who are currently working, and as a professional, I think there's always that thought, "मैं खुद का करूँगा," right? So, do you have any advice for these young professionals or startup entrepreneurs?
I think you will know when the time is right. Don't do it because somebody else is doing it. It's a lot of risk, especially at a later stage of your life. People love to see people fail. Yeah, that's how the world is. Be very careful. As a youngster, obviously, if you are out of college, you should try. But I feel you should work. Like I keep telling this to my kids, you need to work for a certain period of time to understand how things work. You just because you've got a great idea, most of the great ideas fail because you can't operationalize it. You need to learn how to operationalize an idea, and what a job does, or what a working for somebody else does, is gives you a perspective of how one can really make or scale up things, or run it in a way where you can take decisions not only for today or for tomorrow. It also teaches you that you might be the only bottleneck. I truly believe that most of the people, what is the difference between a small businessman and a big corporate created out of a family, is that I think the where people get restricted is they think they know the best for the business, and sometimes that is the reason for downfall. As a human being, it's not possible for you to know everything.
Correct.
You need subject matter experts to come and help you. You should complement with the team. You have your strengths, and you are not a Superman that will have strengths in everything. You need to have the right people doing the right job for an organization, and that is something that is very important, and I think that is what you learn when you work. So for youngsters, I think my advice would be that even if you have a great idea, hold on to it.
Correct.
Work in few organizations for some time, and once you have certain amount of experience of understanding how organizations work, figure out how to get money and then run it. For professionals who are of my age, be very careful, boss. It's a lot of risk, but if you're confident, go for it.
I think good advice. I think we'll wrap it out with our rapid fire. One entrepreneur you deeply admire.
There are various, but I think most of them. I mean, whether it is the founders of Board, whether founders of Mama Earth or Purple, I think all of them have done a fantastic job for reaching where they have reached. They're much younger and they've started differently, but I think I generally admire this whole entrepreneur mindset of people. They're very different. They struggle and they love struggling because they know when they succeed, nobody will succeed the way they do.
Correct.
So there's no one particular favorite, but they're all fantastic people.
Toughest business call you've ever made?
This was definitely the COVID time when I was working somewhere else. I had to, we were running a big ship and it was a travel industry where, unlike other industry, our industry, the cash flow became zero overnight. And
Correct.
there was a lot of bloodshed that had to happen. That I think was the most difficult business call that I had to take. But otherwise, every day is difficult. It's tough. All decisions, especially when you're running a small boat, you need to take difficult calls every day.
Correct. So, VIP or Uppercase, which one is more emotionally special for you?
Uppercase any day. I mean, I don't think it's something that we have created from nothing. So yeah.
Would you ever go back to corporate world?
I don't think so. I think once you get this taste of being an entrepreneur, I don't think we'll be able to go back. It's very difficult. I might start something else, but no, I don't think I'll be able to go back.
Your favorite book or movie?
My favorite movie is Jerry Maguire.
Okay.
I think it's a fantastic. It's about sports. It's about building careers. I think that's one of my favorite movies. Book, I think there is one book that I really like. It's written by one of my ex-bosses called Venkatesh Chandramouli. Especially youngsters, if you're watching, there's a book called Catalyst. Small book. It tells you in the initial stage of your career what you should do and shouldn't do. You should read that. I like that book a lot. I read it far later, but when I was reading it, I thought, had I read it much earlier, I would have made lesser mistakes.
So, what would that one advice you would give your 20-year-old self?
I think it's written on my Facebook, and it's from a very famous song. I love that song. It's a song called Gambler by Kenny Rogers. It's know when to hold on, know when to fold on, know when to walk away, know when to run. You never count your money when you're sitting at the table. There'll be time enough for counting when the dealing is done. I really believe that. So you know when to hold and when to let go. When to sit, negotiate, when to say, oh shucks, this is not mine. And do not count your profits when you're working. There'll be enough time to count that.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you so much. I have
Pleasure.
one last request. You can say no to it.
Sure.
I know that you wanted to be an actor and you've cleared your NSD as well.
I did appear for that.
So do you want to do your debut here by, maybe we can use Uppercase bag as a prop.
I actually have done that in the latest campaign. You will see it's
Oh,
going
really?
on.
It's coming up?
I've acted in that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the agency asked me to do it. I also did a small skit in one of the uh, events here in the society that I stay.
Okay.
But I think I'll leave it at that. I don't want to do it without script and make fun of myself. But yeah, someday you will see me winning the Oscars.
Oh, amazing. I know you have a speech ready for that day.
I have. Believe me, I have.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Pleasure.
It was
Pleasure.
pleasure talking to
Pleasure.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.